Outriders, welcome to another update from Ludo Universe. I am of course your host, Ogaz. And today I want to speak to some news that we've got from a recent developer Q&A with a number of the ambassadors that have been involved with Outriders. And I've noticed there's a lot of videos and content out there discovering and talking about a number of things. Videos that are 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes long. What I wanted to do was to condense some of the information and deliver that as concisely as possible and give you a very, very quick update for where the game is in preparation for launch on April 1st. First up, the general stuff. The date, of course, does remain April 1st. The game itself will have no PvP. Now, we knew this from before, that has been confirmed. Cross-saves are in the works. So cross-saves, in terms of general, are in the works. They may not happen, but at this stage, they're working on it. There is no in-game voice chat or typing chat. Some people have complained about that. It is a reality. There is no in-game voice chat or chat. I don't think that's going to change. So get used to using Steam, Discord, or whatever it is you use in the modern day. The convoy truck that you see in the trailer and demo cannot be driven, sadly, no. It can be skinned though. We'll talk about that later, but it can be customized, but certainly cannot be driven. And the last point for general updates is the auto-skip cutscene is not likely. People have requested the cutscenes to have an auto-skip function. Unfortunately, given how some of the cinematics are built in to hide the load-in, and particularly to introduce new players when you're joining them so that you don't have any lag on your first mission, it makes it very difficult to remove all of them. And I suspect, given how they've coded those cutscenes, they're not going to have the time to probably go back and do anything about that, to be fair. So auto-skip cutscene will not occur. You can still obviously skip the cutscenes as you progress, but that is that. They also mentioned frame rates with that, the frame rate issues they are trying to address. A lot of us have complained about those, but unfortunately we do not know if that will be fixed by launch or not. In terms of the campaign length, you can complete all side quests by going back. So if you rush through or you miss a side quest, those will all be open to you during your campaign later on. The single player itself is more than achievable in the campaign. You do not have to run it with a group, but you'd have to be fairly well geared with your build outs, etc. for post-campaign content. Which brings me to the builds and classes that you'll be using. Number one, in terms of class and builds, the final game will include 6 character slots. As some of you know, there are 4 slots in the demo, there will be 6 in the final, which is of course 1 for each of the classes, and 2 experimental build slots, shall we say. There is no loadout system at launch. The focus is to streamline for us switching between builds quickly and easily, but they won't have a dedicated loadout system at this time. Whilst we only have 4 skills in the demo, there will of course be 8. Most of us know this already because you can see them blacked out in the demo screen, but there's going to be 8 skills for you to play with. With your skill progression nodes, it's going to be up to you to flexibly build out what you want. It seems to be a point of flexibility and accessibility. That's what the developers are going with here, and I think that will work nicely. This mixed with the world tier events that we're going to have, I think should mean that we'll have good replayability and accessibility, whether it's a hardcore player wanting to rerun content and the post-game exhibitions, or casual players just wanting to jump in and play a few missions here and there. The devs aren't going for a meta. They want players to theorycraft and play. Historically, this is notoriously difficult in looter shooters, as many of you know, but we'll see how that pans out. But for now, they would like to see creativity and flexibility, although it's been clear during the demo at least that certainly a lot of us have gone to the Trickster as a form of meta anyway. There are many, many more legendary weapons beyond the 10 that you see in the demo, and of course armor. I'm genuinely looking forward to that. It is not confirmed how many, but many more. I suspect they might be rolling out those as we speak for the final release of the game. Crafting in the final game will also bring much more weapon improvement and adjustment customizations, so it'll be good to see how that pans out. We have not seen that, of course, in the demo. And lastly, for classes and builds, there are no special cosmetics for your character, so it'll be the armor, of course, and the weaponry that you'll be able to build on, but nothing particular in terms of cosmetics will you be changing. There will be cosmetics you can change though on your truck, which is kind of cool, I guess. I don't know if that's exciting, but something there for you. Loot and inventory. Inventory remains limited, so scrap frequently. It is also instanced, which is good. I am very pleased they're doing this. I don't think there's any better way to do it, and I'm very pleased that they're saying loot remains instanced. Mods will sometimes bear impact on the physical makeup of the weapon, and we know this of course already. The stash is limited and shared between your characters. Again, we do know this already, but what we didn't know was the size. They said they're targeting between 50 to 100 slots in the stash, so bear that in mind. You will definitely be scrapping frequently to manage your inventory and of course your stash that you're sharing between your characters. Lastly, there is no auto scrap function. You will need to manage those. A lot of players have asked for auto scrap. Not going to happen for launch. They're talking about it. We'll see how it pans out. Next up was expeditions and post-campaign content. There is no plans for horde mode, but they've mentioned that is very possible. The post-campaign content does include expeditions, which I'm excited about. 14 new maps built for purpose for endgame content. So that is going to be doable. Potentially solo, but they've mentioned it's going to be very, very difficult. So I suspect most of us will be teaming up for those 14 expedition maps that will experience post-campaign. Matchmaking, of course, will be possible. Time-based reward systems will be part of this. And, of course, they are considering different options in the future. That's the extent of the endgame for now. They've mentioned they're open to seasonal and future content, but it really depends on the launch reception. And lastly, of course, multiplayer remains balanced with their 3-player loadout that they've introduced to us in the demo. The only last topic here is lore, just two very small points. One, factions won't fight each other. At the end of the day, we are the enemy to the world of Enoch. And of course, monsters. That's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing some monsters out in the real world. Something that I think Anthem promised and always struggled to deliver in some way. The free play mode did some of that, but I think it's going to be exciting to see what they can do here. And that's the main points. That's my takeaways from this Q&A. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope you've taken some new points away from the demo and of course for the final release on April 1st. Thank you for joining us. I am Ogaz for Luda Universe. You can catch us on the Twitter, which is @LudaUniverse, and of course in the Discord, which is ludauniverse.com for the Discord link. We'll drop it there, Outriders, and we'll see you next out in Enoch.
I feel a storm